USD 435 update on Eagle Community Television is brought to you by Memorial Health System Rehabilitation and Sports Medicine. Memorial Health System Rehabilitation and Sports Medicine will get you back in the game. Century Business Systems. Century Business Systems provides local service, competitive pricing, and simplified solutions for all of Abilene's copier and printer needs. Rivendell Bookstore, Abilene's only new and used bookstore, supporting USD 435 and its surrounding community. Abilene Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab. At Abilene Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab, wellness is your goal and our mission. You're more than a patient, you're family. Reynolds Real Estate. Buying or selling a home? Call Reynolds Real Estate at 263-7151 to speak to our professional realtors today. The Brian Teichman Agency in Abilene. Come see the Brian Teichman Agency in Abilene for all your insurance coverage under one roof. Pursue your dreams, we'll protect them. And Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Welcome to USD 435 Update. We are here at the front of the high school, the new front of the high school, which is at the end of Mulberry on the south side of the high school. This is the secured entrance, and this is where we're going to ask all of our visitors and our students to enter through as we begin the new school year. Just on a side note, today is August 10th, so we're not quite ready for school to start, and you'll see that as we move through the building. But we have lots of people working, and in a week's time there's going to be a lot of changes. But we did want to kind of give you an idea what it looks like in progress. We did finish up enrollment yesterday. I have Mr. Smith here with us, and we're just going to kind of walk through some of these areas and try to inform you as best as we can on what the new spaces are going to be and how we're going to utilize them. So Mr. Smith, would you first start the conversation about the difference in traffic flow and bus pickup and how we expect students to come into our building?
Hey, well, we made changes last year that really helped to alleviate potential congestion. And so when buses dropped off last year, they dropped off on Cedar Street heading south in a yellowed out curb area, and then we picked up students after school there to shuttle them to the middle school right after school. Pretty successful way to do it, and we're going to continue doing that this year.
Okay.
And so when students are dropped off in the morning, it'll be on the southeast side, same way that it was last year.
Of Cedar. So
Cedar
there'll
Street.
be one bus and all students will get on that bus and then be delivered after school to the middle school.
After school, yes.
Okay, all right, good.
And so it's a bright yellow painted curb, so you shouldn't miss it.
Okay, how about the traffic flow of the street that's on the south side of the high school?
Okay, sometimes we call that the alley.
The alley, okay.
We're gonna reverse that flow, and instead of it going out to Cedar Street, it's gonna be coming from Cedar Street.
Okay.
And so it'll come to the west along the south side of the school, and then person has an option that they can either turn south on Mulberry or they can continue going into the parking lot to the west of the high school.
Okay. All right, so what other advice do you have for students as they come back, and actually for our patrons as they come up and visit us for activities?
Well, let's start with patrons.
Okay.
During the school day, we do have some reserved parking out here now. This is a much more intuitive main entrance than the old part of the school had. And what I tend to tell people is go to the flagpole entrance, and that was a way to distinguish the different doors, which none of them look like a main door. Well, now it does. This is a very clear main entrance to the building. But still, flagpole entrance works. And just to the west here of the Abilene High School sign, we have some reserved parking for handicap. We're going to have one spot reserved for the school nurse, and then the rest of it will be visitor parking. And so for visitors during the school day, you can park right here, pretty close to the door. We have handicap accessible ramp that will get anybody who needs it up to the main door. When students get here, they'll be parking in our brand new parking lot to the west of the building, and they've got a number of options. They will be able to come into the building towards the main part of the school, towards the main entrance, under a covered walkway there, and the doors on the west side of the school will be open until school starts and everything will lock down. So during the school day, if a student shows up late, they need to park and then walk here to the main door, which then filters them automatically into the office.
Correct. Okay, very good. All right, well, that kind of covers the front of the building. We're going to go ahead and meet you inside and talk a little bit about what's going on in the inside of the building. We're back, and we are in the hallway that leads to our chorus room. You can see that the flooring is completed. We don't have a final cleaning yet. We still have some work out in the main corridor that they're diligently working on. Right now as we speak, there's probably 50 people back there working to get things completed for the first day when the students come back. Mr. Smith, tell us a little bit about the auditorium and where we're at with that.
Okay, our auditorium, when it's done, is going to be a state-of-the-art auditorium. What the architects have told us is that we're getting a upper-level college auditorium, so we are fantastically excited about the possibilities that exist in that room. We're looking at being able to seat over 800 people in there, which is a couple hundred more than we could seat in the old one. The auditorium is probably the biggest part of how this job went, the most detail-oriented, the most sophisticated, and there's many aspects to it. At this point, we're waiting for seating to arrive, but they're still working on the upper elements of the auditorium. If one was to go in there today, they would see a bunch of scaffolding that has created a kind of looks like a false ceiling, and that ceiling is actually providing makeshift flooring so they can work higher. They finished the drywall from about 30 feet up is what they've been working on, and they're installing the cloud ceiling. When it's all done, it's going to be the best one within miles of us.
Well, we're very excited about the auditorium. And behind the stage is the chorus room, and that is virtually complete except for just the final clean and detail, and then of course we have to move in all the furniture and those kinds of things as well. The stage also, they're working on the fly system in the back of the stage, so there's lots of folks high up in the air connecting all the parts to get the fly system in. We probably will not take you in the auditorium today because there is so much going on in there, but just a little brief update on what's going on behind the camera. We've got our trophy cases going in. What else is happening back there?
Well, an interesting aspect of the auditorium, many of our viewers might remember what it was like in the old auditorium that's been here for years. The opening to the stage that you'll eventually see when the auditorium is complete would have been able to hold the entire width of the old auditorium. So we're growing double, triple, quadruple the size
yes.
of the old auditorium. Behind the camera, as Dr. Guy said, we have concession stand going in, so no longer will we have to use the school cafeteria for that. There's an area for the trophies, as you said, and then the athletic trainers room is right behind the camera, as it is right now. There's restrooms going along the east wall here, so that when we have events, all those things are taken care of. And then we put in new flooring all through this area, and then to go back to where the cafeteria is, we have to go back across the school, and the flooring there is going to be brand new also, so that it all matches wherever you go.
Okay. One other thing that we just heard not more than 10 minutes ago is the sprinkler guy said that the fire folks were out here and they've approved the sprinkling system, so that's one check off the list before we get the students in next week. So we're excited about that.
And that was a crucial part because we can't actually have students in here.
We can't have school without that, so that was pretty integral. So we'll go on and take you to the next spot in the high school that we'd like to show you. All right, we're back and we're in the new high school gym. It's the sub-varsity gym. We'll play our JV games in this facility. You can see behind us that they're adding the Tectum panels, which is for sound in this gymnasium. So they're getting those put on and they'll be painted orange. And then this space is pretty much ready to be used. So we're excited about having this extra spot in our high school. Do you have plans to use this in the near future?
We will. For freshman orientation, which is on Tuesday of next week.
Okay.
We're going to have our students come in the main doors, and then when we meet here first thing, we'll pull these bleachers out and we'll have our students come in here. They'll do a quick meeting of the teachers, and then we have a student leadership team, the Lone Rangers, who will be, they have some divided tasks, but they'll take kids through the building and give them a tour and help make them as comfortable as they can before school starts.
Okay. Can you give us an update on the competition gym, the gym that most folks are used to going into and using?
Right, that gym will remain our main gym. So for years and years, that outstanding environment in there is gonna remain. That's the place where most of our main stuff happens. We're replacing the floor in there right now, and so if the viewer can tell how nice this floor looks, they're gonna get something similar and maybe even up a notch or two in the main performance gym. We're hoping that maybe another month or so it'll be ready. The floor is being laid right now. It's a pretty intricate process, but if we were to stick our heads in there, we'd see that the floor is about 1/3 laid right now. And then when they get it all laid, they got to do some sanding and varnishing and then paint the lines. And so we're still a ways away from being able to use it, but boy, it's going to be amazing when it's done.
It's going to be very nice, yes. And some other updates in the gym that we did through the summer, and that was we repainted it, and we also put some new lighting in. So it will feel a little different when you walk into the competition gym, but it's the same gym. And there is a new entrance into that gym as well. As you walk in the front doors, you'll have the option to go into your right and your left, and to your right will be the new gym, and to your left will be the secondary gym. So it's all confined in this one little area that you can have access to both gyms pretty easily. So, anything else?
Gone are the days of going back and forth from middle school to the high school on competition nights. So we're pleased to be able to
just across the hall now. So, all right, we'll move on to the next part of the school. All right, we're now located in the newly remodeled band room, and just a recap of what we did there. We took the choir room and the band room and conjoined them and put them together and made one room for the band itself. So what you're seeing in the background is a combination of the two rooms together in a much larger space for our band to practice and perform. While we're here, one of the things that we are so fortunate is that we have an outstanding custodial staff at our high school, and they have really been working hard this summer, and I just want to thank them for everything that they've done. In behind, you'll see Mark. He's cleaning some cabinets for the instruments, and you know, they have been very patient, and it's been a stressful summer for them. So if you have a chance to give some kudos to our high school custodian staff, that would be wonderful, because they've done a tremendous job. Mr. Smith, can you talk to us about what this room means to our school?
Our band program has been growing steadily over the last dozen years, to the point where we outgrew the facility that existed. And so this year we have 125 students who are going to be in marching band, and in a room that could probably comfortably, in the old room, handle maybe 40 or 50.
Right.
And so we've increased the instructional space in this room significantly, and really what we've done is we've provided room for, and I think a lot of appreciation and respect towards what our band program has been about.
Right. And along with giving them more space, we have appropriate storage now for the instruments. There's a lot of money that goes into those instruments, and now we have the appropriate storage. We also put air conditioning outside of the room. Previously, there was a big unit back in the corner, and it added to the sound as they were practicing. But right
took
now,
up space.
Took up space. So that is now on the roof, and so the air conditioning does not impede on the performances in the classroom.
And right now, we're standing roughly where the storage area would have began in the old room. And so, like you said earlier, we took out the wall that separated the band room and the choir room, and then we readjusted what that storage space looks like. So not only has this instructional space been renovated, we've altered how we use the storage space. And so some of the old backstage from the old auditorium, that area has been dedicated towards storage of larger instruments and for the band uniforms and shoes. So getting that into a different location, especially if you're talking 125 plus uniforms and shoes, to store them in here would take away instructional space. So we dedicated extra space to make it so we can have more kids in here and be able to grow into this room.
Very good. While you're at it, why don't you speak just a little bit about our cafeteria area? We're not going to take you down into that space right now because they're working on that, but talk about how that looks a little different as well.
Okay, it's going to be quite a bit different. The renovation is not only in the seating area in the cafeteria, but also the things that the kids don't see. And so we shifted where kids get their meals. And so it used to be that they would walk into the far end of the cafeteria, go in and get their meals, and then come out through the line that was already created. And so for every square foot where students were queuing up in line, that was wasted seating space. So we've shifted it so that a student is now going to enter into the west end of the cafeteria area, what used to be Barb's Bar. They'll get their hot food there or their salad, and then they'll line up in the hallway and no longer in the seating area. So they'll go in there, exit straight into the seating area. We've redesigned what that's going to look like. We've got a bench area where there's going to be some elevated bar seating. We've got some new tables that'll be coming in soon. In years past, kids have chosen to sit out in the hallway and eat their lunch on the floor, and we really wanted to give them a space so they'd be more comfortable eating in chairs in a nice eating environment. So we've adjusted the space so that they won't ever have to sit on the floor anymore.
Very good. All right. And while you're at it, you want to just run through and give them a quick update on the elevators and some of the other spaces that are being remodeled as well? And
okay. Historically, we've had 2 elevators. That's a term I use pretty loosely. They were lifts. You'd have to go in it and then hold the switch for the entire length of the trip up or the trip down. We used to have one by the counselor's office that went up to the top floor, and we're replacing that with an elevator. And that one is slated to be done around August 19th. And so we'll have elevator transport if needed from the 2nd floor to the 3rd floor. And also, not too far from where we're standing here, which would have been in the middle of the risers in the choir room, there's another elevator that we put in. It'll be done after the first one. It's the secondary one, and it'll go down to the main floor. What we're now calling the main floor, which is the lowest level. And so we've got 2 brand new elevators, and we're going to keep the lift that goes down by the cafeteria, because we have a foods class that sometimes prepares things that we show off in the cafeteria or in the gym, and so keeping that lift there just made sense.
Very good. And the office space. You have a new office now, and it's right at the new front doors.
Right at the flagpole entrance.
Okay.
When anybody comes into the building, they'll immediately go to their right into the main office.
Okay.
And so that's a brand new area. It's not a renovation, it's a brand new area. So they'll see Cody, they'll see Katie, all attendants will be taken there. My office is there, Mr. Burton's office is there. We have a conference room, and then there's teacher workspace that goes along with it as well.
And the space that previously was the office space is becoming
That's going to become a classroom.
Okay.
Before too long, we'll be able to have Mrs. Weaver and her students move into that room, have a nice brand new space for her to be able to work with her kids.
Very good. What about the old auditorium? Where are we at with that?
You know, every time I walk in there, I'm stunned by how small it now feels. Okay, usually an auditorium space feels big, but relative to that new auditorium that we have, it feels like a small space now. And it's actually kind of a marvelous piece of construction what they did. They took the descent that one would travel on going down to the stage, and they raised it all up through a series of filler blocks. And so there's now a flat floor that's in there that we're going to turn into the new wrestling practice room. And so the wrestling room has grown by over twice, I think. You know, we've had a fantastic wrestling program, it's been very strong for several decades now. And the work that they've been able to do and the results they've gotten out of their kids, especially with the outstanding coaches that we have, in that tiny space that they had has been amazing. So they now have a space that's more appropriate for them to do what they need to do.
Much safer to have that many bodies on that mat. And it's also going to be used for some other purposes as well. The dance team will get to use that space, and cheerleading. So it's really a multi-purpose.
Right, kids wrestling will occur there.
So lots of different uses for that space.
We've got it designed where when the community is going to use that space, they can come in from the old auditorium entrance door straight into that room, but still be have their access restricted to the rest of the building. So it's just a community use room with no ability to get to the rest of the school.
Okay. Anything else we haven't talked about? We've got some new girls' locker room spaces.
New weight room space.
The new weight room spaces that are being completed right now.
Yeah, our weight room has probably grown by almost double. We took the old wrestling room and grew into most of it. And then the far west end of the old wrestling practice room, it's where the locker rooms
The girls' locker rooms. Okay.
So we have a new varsity girls' locker room, a new PE girls' locker room, and then a new office for Ms. Tanzer, the girls' PE teacher.
Very good. All right. Some of the spaces that you'll also notice when you walk in and come to a competition in our competition gym is the restrooms. The old restrooms that were on the north side of the building are also being completely remodeled. So you'll have the opportunity to see that when you visit us in the competition room. Anything else you'd like to add?
just once again how appreciative we are for the community for supporting us in this. You know, the undertaking of bonds are not to be done lightly, and so for the community to give us the support that they did to vote this bond in place, I'm really thankful that we live in the community that we do, and I think they're going to be incredibly pleased when they walk in and see how this is done. And this wasn't the entirety of the bond. We have a brand new elementary school and some renovations and safety considerations on the rest of the schools, and I think when it's all 100% done, the community is going to be very, very pleased.
Yeah, very good. Well, that completes our show for you. We'll be looking forward to visiting with you next month.
USD 435 update on Eagle Community Television is brought to you by Memorial Health System Rehabilitation and Sports Medicine. Memorial Health System Rehabilitation and Sports Medicine will get you back in the game. Century Business Systems. Century Business Systems provides local service, competitive pricing, and simplified solutions for all of Abilene's copier and printer needs. Rivendell Bookstore, Abilene's only new and used bookstore, supporting USD 435 and its surrounding community. Abilene Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab. At Abilene Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab, wellness is your goal and our mission. You are more than a patient, you're family. Reynolds Real Estate. Buying or selling a home? Call Reynolds Real Estate at 263-7151 to speak to our professional realtors today. The Brian Teichman Agency in Abilene. Come see the Brian Teichman Agency in Abilene for all your insurance coverage under one roof. Pursue your dreams, we'll protect them. And Eagle Communications, our community connected.